Greetings, warlocks, hunters, titans, and all the ships at sea. It's time once again for Happy Hour from the Tower, and I am your host, T. Morris.
Stop. Look. Long story, and it may look like I don't know what I'm doing, but I do. Maybe not. It doesn't matter.
Hey, look, I've written 2 books on this thing. I think I know what I'm doing. Sitting over to my left.
I'm Nick Kelly.
Just read the after action on your little battle. Wow.
Yeah, wow indeed. And sitting across from me.
I'm Brandon Kelly.
Have you got that? Say you've got it. Say something.
Yeah, you gotta ramp it up because we had to switch that mic.
There's no way I'm going louder.
Well, you're gonna have to pump it up because we have you do. You have to. You got to dig deep because
Move along.
we have a special guest, the most special of special guests. Oh my God, this is so worth it. He is the guy you love to hate. He is the biggest troll that Bungie has ever produced. Special guest, sign on in.
Hey everybody, this is Brandon O'Neill, the voice and performance actor for Uldren Sov.
Yes.
Get after it.
Any last words? How's your sister?
So, yeah, first question in the interview. How is your sister? No. I've been dying to say that ever since I said you had titanium, you had a pair of titanium ones, and you responded on Twitter with ting ting, and I said, I really want this guy on the show now. Brandon O'Neill, I am so stoked. Nick, you've done it again. You've knocked one out of the park.
Thank you.
It's a thrill to have you on the show, Brandon. It's an absolute honor because, man, I have hated your punk ass since D1.
I made it easy for you.
Yeah, you did.
I like this guy already.
Yeah.
Oh, so as you all know, who are watching on Twitch and who are watching and listening in the podcast, we just recorded episode 50, and what a great way to come into the next half of 50 episodes with Happy Hour from the Tower with an interview with Brandon O'Neill. Now, Brandon, as I just said, you've been with the character of Uldren Sov since the beginning. We're just going to jump right in and kick it off. How has your portrayal of Uldren Sov evolved since we first saw you in Destiny Year 1?
Well, they've given me a lot more to work with than in D1, because as you guys probably heard on some of the other things that I've done, I mean, the Crow originally was a completely different character. He was more of a Han Solo guy. So I recorded hours and hours of footage as the Crow. And then they changed the storyline, and all of a sudden I'm Prince Uldren Sov. And in fact, when D1 dropped, they didn't even have a name for me yet. So
That's right.
I was the Queen's brother. And then I remember I got a call from one of the producers, and they were like, "We have a name for you." It's like Uldren Sov, and I didn't know how to feel about it right away. I didn't know if Uldren. I wasn't super fond of it actually right away, but it's grown on me. It's no Darth Vader, you know what I mean? But it's like it's got its
way more.
It's got its weirdness.
Yeah, it does. You sound like a Skarsgård, really. It's like, and now our recent addition to the cast of Game of Thrones, actor Uldren Sov. I loved him. Did you see him in that movie with Keira Knightley? He was wonderful. Uldren Sov. He always makes me cry. Anyway,
with the blue skin, I mean, he could be one of the White Walkers, I suppose.
That's true. That's very true. Very true.
Somebody's writing it somewhere, I'm sure.
It's not George R. Martin.
yeah, no doubt.
Well, so now during Forsaken, you really did just dive deep into being the villain. And as I said earlier, especially on social media, I mean, watching your Twitter feed was like watching ballet. I mean, it was just seamless. There's just no other word for it. It was epic trolling. How did you feel knowing that you were going to be a villain to a lot of people, considering your acts in Forsaken?
Come on. It's delicious, man. It is. It's like, I just think, and in theater, I get the opportunity to play a lot of villains too. It's just one of the most fun things you can do. You can get, because you create a response right away, and it's usually the most base response that a human being can have, which is just like rage or hatred or just like, frustration, and these things happen quick for human beings. So I think I'm lucky in that way, as opposed to trying to get somebody to fall in love with me, which is a much harder thing to do because we're all, pieces of work. I think it's so maybe it's a little easier to do than being the hero. And you gotta finding comedy in a lot of those in those moments too is more difficult. And I'm hoping, what I'm hoping for Uldren in the future.
Go for it.
I'm hoping he gets his sense of humor back, because this was dark. You know what I mean? And even though he was, he had some lines like, this is going to hurt a lot, and he didn't feel a thing. I think, I feel like
easy. Hey, Tex, you slipped in that a little too easily. I think we need to wrap up the show. Let's get Slonaker back. He was pure and light and all kinds of fun. This guy's starting to scare me already.
You got both sides of the thin line.
Yeah, so, yes, you do.
I mean, I think I'd love to see more of that come back, and maybe he regains his sense of humor a bit. It's been so dark, but you got to go to a place of darkness to really know what the light is. So here we go. So
I've got a follow-up question to that, but I do want to take a few steps back. I mean, this is what you're known for, and I think kicking off with these key questions about Uldren, about playing Uldren is just, we're setting the tone for the interview. But I also want people to know a little bit more about Brandon O'Neill. I mean, we know you've been the voice of Uldren Sov, but can you go into a little more of a description of what you do? What is your involvement with Destiny, and what really is your in 500 words or less? What is your what is your who are you and what do you do?
I'm just a small town boy,
living in a lonely world.
No, I was born and raised in Spokane, Washington, to a family full of artists, musicians, and wannabes. And I had the good fortune of being raised in like a church setting that had an amazing music scene. So I had this music bug from a long, long time ago. I left the church, but held on to the music, and that's kind of at the center of me. So when I moved to Seattle with my family, I was looking to meet musicians. And I ended up in theater. One thing led to another. Ended up in theater because I could sing, and then I had this propensity for acting. So it was kind of an accident to get into acting, but now I've been able to. I've been able to do it full time now for the better part of 17 years, which is so weird to say. It's so weird to say. And in a city like Seattle, like I was in New York for a couple years with Aladdin, and I've gone back and forth for a couple projects, but. For the most part, I can make a living here in Seattle, and the job takes me to other locations from time to time. But for the most part, my bread and butter is here, and Destiny has been a big part of that since 2011. Helping me pay the bills by, having me come in and do, mocap and voiceover and stuff, not just for Uldren, but for also the other characters and the player from time to time. So. It's been good, man. I feel really lucky. I'm like the dude who I live by the beach here in Seattle. There's very few beaches, but
I hate this guy more and more.
I know it's I take it. People can take it for granted. I had this guy come to my house to buy a chair that I was selling because I also sling vintage stuff. And he goes, wait a minute, you're an actor and you live by the beach in Seattle? He's like, did you win the lottery of life? Like, what is the... So I have to feel really lucky, and I have two boys, 20 and 15, and a wife of 20 years. So, that's basically me. I'm pretty uncomplicated other than that.
So speaking of complications and making things a little complicated for yourself, you went out of your going back to being the villain. Let's be honest, embracing the villain. You took a great amount of delight in trolling people online, and I was one of those people. You took way too much fun in trolling online. Did at any time Bungie come to you and go, Brandon, we've been looking at your Twitter feed, and dial it back a notch? Or did they just sit back and just watch you work your dark magic online, which, by the way, was absolutely brilliant.
I just think, they know that I've been waiting a long time, and I've known about this storyline way before y'all did.
Oh, wow.
So I've had to bite my tongue and wait to connect with the community. And there weren't, there were fans of Uldren from D1, I suppose, but not as many. He was such a, he was just such a, he was just a little side character for the most part, waiting for his chance to pounce. But for Forsaken, it's a new level. So I figured I owed it to the community to kind of engage. And it's fun that, it's much easier to do an interview in character, I suppose, than it is, you know what I mean, as myself. I find it more interesting. So that's why my Twitter stuff is more Uldren centered, for the most part, just because it's what people are connecting to me for. I don't have a lot of people following me from Aladdin or whatever, there's a few, but so that's it. Yeah.
It's crazy.
They've given me a couple warning things. They want to make sure I don't spoil anything, but I think after almost 10 years with them, they trust me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to become the Tom Holland of Destiny. You just don't.
Oh, no.
You just don't. You just don't, right? All right.
All right, so I have a question. If you can hear me.
No, we can hear you, B.
Great. Okay, so it's not a spoiler at this point, but it looks a lot like Uldren will be coming back to Destiny. And given that Guardians don't remember anything before they were been resurrected, do you think he can be redeemable to the community?
Do I think he can?
Yes.
I think it's going to take some script magic to really, you know what I mean?
Dude, you killed Cade 6.
I know.
You killed Cade. You killed.
But I mean, if you guys have analyzed those clips, like even when this is going to hurt a lot. Like when he says that, you can hear there's another voice speaking with him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how much permission are people going to give him to be himself, or to be this new Guardian? Like, is that a thing? Like, I don't know everybody else's background. Maybe everybody else has criminal history. Maybe everybody else has gray moral areas that, you know what I mean? I don't know you. I don't know you. So
yeah, but you don't understand, dude. You don't understand. You didn't just kill Cade 6. You killed Cade 6. You killed Mal Reynolds. You killed Richard Castle. You killed Green Lantern. Dude, you killed Nathan freaking Fillion, okay? Nathan freaking Fillion.
He killed Nathan Nolan Fillion North.
Nathan Fillion Nolan North. Exactly. I mean, you didn't just kill a lovable character.
They can always come back in a montage or some kind. That's it. We'll do some flashbacks.
This is why I love Brandon O'Neill's Twitter stream so much. It is like this, and I love it. That gets a bell. Okay. Go ahead, guys.
Nice. Hey, real quick sidebar. When you were in New York, did you ever get to Jim Caruso's cast party at Birdland Jazz Club?
No.
So Monday nights, it's basically an open mic because all the Broadway shows are dark, and so just every Monday night you just go and it's just somebody with Broadway level talent that shows up.
Oh, that's crazy
and
cool.
makes you want to burn every guitar you've ever owned. Anyways,
well, that's the truth. I've definitely seen some stuff in New York. When I arrived, I went to an off Broadway show.
I tell you what,
cats were just.
I tell you what. Next time you go to New York, let me know. I will find out if a buddy of mine plays drums and is married to the premier jazz violinist of the United States. Her name is Regina Carter. His name is Al, and I'll set you up with tickets. I watch them live, and it's just freaking astounding. I love jazz in New York. I love jazz in New York, man. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
All right. So speaking of other stuff that I've watched involving you, so I watched all the behind the scenes stuff that you posted. You have to put more stuff on your YouTube page, by the way. No problem.
Oh, I know, dude. I'm just getting started. It's like I'm so lame that way. I'm work a day, just like plugging away, and then somebody says, "Well, somebody else might want to use you." Oh. I had the guys from Bungie said, "Well, we had somebody reach out. Another local developer reached out and was interested in you, so they want to see a reel." And I was like, "What reel?" So I needed to get it together.
Dude.
God.
I work as a freelance video editor. If you want me to put together a reel for you, I will. I will.
Oh, dude, don't tempt me.
So
I've got some... Here's the thing. I've got like some movie stuff that I need to get done, but it's like accessing the movies and knowing how to rip it off. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I can figure it out. I'm not an idiot, but it's like,
dude, if you can
time.
If you can figure out Discord, you just got to carve out the time and make it happen. You got it.
So the one that was posted recently, it's you and friend of the show, Richard Sloniker, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact on Richard, he's the only one I had to go through his agent to actually get him on the show. Everybody else just kind of did it themselves. So just if you want to tell him he's
super professional. I'm just kidding.
But in there, you've got Uldren, you've got Zavala, you've got the Guardian, you've got Spider. I was at Spider last night in the Tangled Shore playing the game, and I can't unsee the fat Rubik's Cube, right? So is there either one that's your favorite or one that's the most challenging? Or both?
Spider physically was probably the bulk of that scene was probably the most difficult thing I've done to date. But doing all of my Zavala stuff is especially difficult because his cadence, the way he delivers his lines is so unique and so bizarre. The way he takes his breaks and how he extends his phrases and everything's so freaking epic that it's hard to act to it, believe it or not. So I have to, his voice will slow my movements down, which actually aids the character because he's such a grounded, solid guy. So it's tricky. Anytime I do Zavala is very tricky. Doing my own stuff is probably, like anytime I do motion capture to my own voice, that's the easy stuff just because it makes sense with my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for his because you just kind of described him as like the ultimate vanguard for the type. You know, like he's really that grounded career soldier type of approach.
Yeah.
And of course you get Lance Reddick for that. But there is I'll send you a link to it. There's a Funny or Die thing called Toys R Me, where he's a manager of a toy store with that delivery.
Yes,
and it is so off the rails.
It is ridiculously funny.
I'll send it to you because you
Lance
Reddick. I
Reddick.
can't believe he agreed to do this.
Lance Reddick and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Those are two guys who need to do more comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, Lance Reddick is funny as crap in that. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
So
I love these guys that you know that are supposed to be badasses who know how to poke fun at their own brand.
Yep.
I mean,
so
Van Damme especially.
Yeah.
Like Alec Baldwin has managed to do that too somehow. He's like, well, I was kind of the ultimate, asshole guy, and so now he just pokes fun at that character, and he's brilliant.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something else who needs to do more comedy is I'm blanking on the Jeremy Renner. Pip, sorry, not Pip. My daughter Serena for Father's Day said, "Dad, I want to take you out to the movies." I said, "Okay, what are we going to see?" She said, "We're going to go see Tag."
Oh, Tag.
and I'm like, "Oh, great." Not only did I find Tag extremely entertaining, Jeremy Renner ran with that movie. Yep. He was, I'm like, this is Hawkeye? And because he was funny as all get. And I love watching that. I love watching heavy actors do comedy. McKellen, Reddick. It's great stuff. Great stuff. So
I think truly the best actors don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
I get bored with the ones that do. You know
Amen.
what I mean?
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm liking him again. I'm liking him again. Theater jock just perked up.
Lights just right
Ding.
on T's big smile.
Ting ting.
So speaking of Spider, getting back to Spider, right?
Yeah.
Not played by Jeremy Renner.
No. Or Lance Reddick.
Or Lance Reddick.
But that's coming up next.
No, but it was Robin Atkins Downs who does the voice for Spider. And the second I heard him, I just thought instantly, like Sidney Greenstreet in the old 1940s Nero Wolfe radio shows. Like it's got that really super, breathy and the laugh.
Oh yeah.
He'll make a laugh, but the laugh is almost so far after somebody says something that it's uncomfortable. So you mentioned that was a challenging role for you. Was it a posture thing? Was it what was it about that in particular? Because just watching you do that made my back hurt.
Oh, I know. Well, no, they put me in a weird position. I'm glad I was actually seated, and it would probably just been too much work for them to animate, the spider walking around. Honestly, that's probably why they had me seated. But it's all of the little the little vocal nuggets that he placed in it, from the sighing and the and the little laughs and the grunts. So you have to animate each one of those and memorize when they come in the phrase. Ugh. So that's, you can't, it's not, you have to memorize it like lines, but then you're memorizing it like music as well, because you get used to the amount of beats in between breath and speech. So that's what makes it really difficult, and that's what makes it spectacular, though, too. His vocal performance there is so good and so nuanced and so textured, layered, that when I finally got it, it felt really good.
It comes across too, because I can tell you the first time that we approach him in the Tangled Shore in the storyline, and just like, oh, this is amazing. Like, this guy's, the combination of voice and emotion and everything. Yeah. You're just like, this is a like Star Wars villain level bad guy.
Absolutely, his voice is phenomenal.
Yeah. Good stuff. So you already talked about Zavala, and you had to do all that with the whole foam piece of armor on the shoulder too, right?
Yeah, that's right. What did they call that? Somebody had a name for it. They said the shoulder piece, and I would Velcro it on my suit.
But I was watching.
What do they call that thing?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I just know that it looked really cool, and when I saw that in the game, I was like, oh, I kind of dig that. But then you look at the mocap and it's like, oh, that's a pain in the butt.
Right.
Totally.
That's all.
Don't stand on my left. I can't see you.
Exactly. Would you mind stepping a few steps over? Thank you.
Yeah. It's his Nick Fury angle.
There you go.
So we're going to come up to the end of segment 1 here, and then we're going to switch to some non-Destiny questions for you. But before we do that, is there anywhere that I know you can't spoil anything. You can't. I don't want you to get in trouble. But is there anywhere you would like to see Uldren go moving forward in Destiny?
Part of me, it was hard for me to watch him take out everybody on the Reef. So part of me wants there to be some sort of redemption there among his people. And I don't know if that's even possible, but honestly, this is just me talking out of the side of my face, because I don't.
That's what the question's designed for.
Yeah,
and honestly, this is part of being an actor. Part of being an actor is sometimes having to fill in these blanks, and even speculate about what's the direction of this character. Where are we going? Villains do not think they are villains; they think they are heroes. So right. I love the fact that you are speculating, like how you want to see some redemption from him, and I've got the comparison that I would say or that I was going to use. I don't know how much media you're able to consume, because dude, you're a working artist, and God love you for it. But in Star Trek Discovery, I don't know if you're tracking with Star Trek Discovery, but there's a character similar to Uldren who falls from grace. And then he spends the rest of season 1 and parts of season 2 trying to find his place. And I would say, not giving any spoilers away, do you see Uldren not necessarily having redemption, but let's say the popular fan theory is that he will become the next Hunter Vanguard. Do you see that becoming sort of his path to redemption, or do you see him struggling with it? And how do you as an actor grapple with that?
Yeah, it's hard to know where they're going to take this story. The whole revival was a shock. I thought I was dead and gone, and when they had other plans for me, that was and that's literally the last thing you guys know is the last thing I know.
Oh, wow.
So at this point, at this point, they haven't shared any further developments. And now with Bungie and Activision parting ways, I think there's a new fire under the writing team to really keep the stakes high. And I think it would be a mistake to not follow this and see where it goes, because so many people want to know, including myself.
Sure.
So it's hard to know, because the original Uldren as much as he hated Guardians, it was mostly about protecting his people and protecting the secrets of his people.
Right.
So to have such a horrible turn in that throne room, I'm interested to see what they want to do with that, and how the Awoken, if any that are left off of the Reef, how they will respond. Like, does Zavala give any shits about about the Awoken? If he doesn't remember where he's from, I mean, he was born on Earth, I suppose, instead of the Reef. But it's just I don't want that culture to die.
Right.
Right.
Maybe
So I'm interested to see how that goes. And then, as far as being the Hunter Vanguard, I mean, they've set it up to where it's plausible, it's possible. But whether it is going to happen or not, it's only speculation. I have no idea. It could be cool. It'd be scary. It'd be a scary position.
It's the logical thing, though, because that's what the Vanguard Dare is.
Yep.
How hunters get their Vanguard.
Yeah.
Right.
And what a great place to give ourselves a break. We're going to need to take a breath, take a break, and when we get back, we are going to dive a little deeper into Brandon O'Neill, find out more about his theater background, which is something I'm itching to talk about right after this break. And we're clear. We're still live. This part will not appear. The section that we're talking about right now is not going to appear in the podcast. This is just
This would be the blooper reel.
kind of like the commentary track sort of thing. Holy shit, you're fun. You're making me pine for the stage all over again, man. I tell you what.
So funny.
Oh my god, it's great.
The rumor mill I had was that Uldren was coming back as a Han Solo type character, and they were just going to use all of the stuff you originally recorded.
Oh my god. Well, that'd save him some time, but shit, that means that I don't get to go back in the studio.
Yeah,
We don't want that. We want you getting paid.
But no, we that I was trying to figure out how to say that, but that's kind of tacky. But I'm sure the actor in you said, "Wait, I'm back." Fuck yeah, I'm back.
Right.
I got more work, guys. I mean,
Oh yes.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
Get, pulled pork.
No. Now, honestly, now Brandon O'Neill probably loves pulled pork because it just got him more work. I mean, that's fantastic. So,
People are going to be buying you that every con appearance you go to. People will be bringing you
pulled pork.
pulled pork.
So
What happens on the show? What happens during these commercial breaks?
So,
Nothing.
well, no, I mean, so if you were to see the actual live feed, and the live feed will show up on YouTube, but in the live feed, it does this segment does go up because people want to see how the show looks and flows raw and unedited, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And chat's doing good. Actually, there was a question from chat that I couldn't figure out how to shoehorn in here. But this will be fun for the extra content. We had a question from Obi Orion. His question is: are you a one-take wonder, or do you deliver each line dozens of times when you're recording in studio?
Oh, I've done both, where they like it the first time, and then there's also been times where I'll give it because they don't quite know exactly where they want it to go. So then I'll give variations on purpose.
Right. Right.
That more often than not will happen. Or if there's a tiny flub or something that I'm not happy with, we'll redo it again. But it's not terrible.
One of the guys we had on the show too, who kind of flies under the radar, is Kevin McMullen. I don't know if you worked with him at all.
I haven't.
Okay, he's one of the voice directors, but like we brought him on to talk about, talking about like getting multiple actors when they're not in the same place at the same time. How do you build a scene and all this other stuff? And then it turned into he had stories about Frank Langella.
Yeah,
and I mean we were like, just keep talking, buddy. We'll just sit back and
he basically did the driving. He told us that he told us about how he had Lance Reddick and Gina Torres in studio together doing the conversation over Cade's body. And that kind of segues to something that I've been itching to ask you since you mentioned this. When you found out that you were going to be the guy that takes down Cade 6, what was your reaction?
I mean, Right, other than upping your life insurance.
Yeah.
Making sure nobody knows your gamer tag.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was excited to be honest. I mean, there's so much, and I don't know how much I can tell you about Nathan Fillion's the job or whatever, but they knew that Nathan's time with the show was with the game was coming to an end.
Okay.
And I don't know if that wasn't the whole reason why they got rid of Cade 6, but because obviously Nolan did a fantastic job.
He did
keeping him alive.
Yeah, he did. He did a real nice job.
But part of me felt like Cade 6 took my original Crow away from me. He got all the funny lines, he got all the swagger, and all the stuff that I used to love about Crow back in the day. Cade got, and I kind of resented that character. Honestly, so it didn't hurt all that bad for me.
You were like, payback, bitch. I mean,
yeah.
Wow.
What now?
Oh wow,
Guess
wow. I mean, and that's
so
the thing.
A little, I mean, that's the personal part of it.
No, and that's cool. I mean, this is the best time for us to not. We're not going to make this part of the podcast,
Right.
because if you want to be, if you want to talk honestly or something like that, it's during this segment that I would say something, because being a writer, I would say HBO is doing what George R. R. Martin can't. They're finishing the series. That I would say that in this segment.
But he gets the ultimate pay. If you get to be the Hunter Vanguard, you have
Yeah,
the ultimate payback.
that's the ultimate
you get
payback.
his 401k and his benefits.
You get his office. You get
corner
Man,
office.
the corner
Now,
office.
if only I could get Fillion's paycheck, I think I'd be
there
even
is that.
happier.
It's 4-day work week.
And the 4-day work week. Exactly. But during this whole, like I say, during the show, we usually run a promo. And I don't know if you look back at the playback on YouTube, we're wearing stuff from the organization that sponsors both this feed and this podcast, which is called Hangry Gamer Gear. You're gonna get to know them from.
I'm gonna send you some stuff.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up separately as a thank you.
Like right now, I'm wearing this really nice hoodie. It says "I'm coming home, Ace." And
That's sad.
Yeah, it is. Oh, there's another one though. In the same vein as Han shot first, there's one where you have the Ace of Spades and says Cade 6 shot first.
Yeah.
Got that as a T-shirt. So there's all
Just to prove even more that he stole the Han Solo role.
exactly.
Dang.
But-
There's also one that's it's a ghost and it says I'm what's stupid.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
that's my favorite.
So what we would do is we drop in a promo at this point in the show, and then when we come back for the second half, which we're going to do in a few minutes, unless you had any questions. Basically, what happens is that we go on ahead and we play the rejoiner, and you hear me say, and we're back with the second half of Happy Hour from the Tower. I'm T.
I'm Nick.
I'm Brandon.
And this is where you can come in and you can either say, and I'm Brandon, or if you want to come in as Uldren Sov, you are more than welcome to, because we had Joy Osmansky on the show. She came in as Failsafe. And she had a legendary, she went, and I'm Failsafe, and I'm better than you. And we lost it on the show. Joy Osmansky she's a little gem. She embodies her name. She is Joy. So it's up to you. If you want to introduce yourself as Brandon, or if you want to introduce yourself as Uldren, it's up to you. But that's the timing. And again, just to rehearse the timing, you'll hear me say, and we are back with the second half of Happy Hour from the Tower. I'm T.
I'm Nick.
I'm Brandon.
Oh yes, that would be me.
And that would be you.
There you go.
That would be you. Oh, and one thing we would ask is that if you would like to if you would give us just a few more minutes at the end of the show, we would love to get a recording of you saying, this is Brandon O'Neill and Eyes Up Guardian. You're listening to Happy Hour from the Tower, because we've got one from Richard, we've got one from Joy, and we just want to make sure we got one from you as well. It really is a delight to have you on the show. Did you have any other questions about us after the first half of the show and the rhythm or anything like that? Is there anything specific you would like to talk about? What do you have for us?
I'm good. I mean, you guys, this is your ball game. Just a spectator.
It's a little bit of a production, but we don't take ourselves too seriously.
No,
nobody's getting in here into like 160 sparrows versus 150 sparrows.
Right. That's not us.
No,
that's not us.
All right.
I stream my video game I stream my Destiny early in the morning, and I tell people, look, if you've come here to watch the Vish plays and the great strategies, this is not that stream. I'm not a gamer that writes. I'm a writer that games. Okay, there's the difference. There's the difference. Well, then, if you don't have any questions for us, I know I want to take a quick tea break.
Okay, let's do it real quick.
Hit the little Guardians room.
Take too much.
Right. No.
Yep.
So if you want to grab yourself a water or anything at this point, feel free, Brandon. Be right back.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, the other two of us are still sitting here.
All right. Well, I'm still sitting here too, but okay. I'm trying to let's make sure I've got everything lined up here. I forgot to tweet the.
Oh, well then I won't interrupt that.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm just like I said. I know it's been a while. We've been talking about trying to get you on, so I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. And we're certainly having a good time. Don't let the young one fool you. He's just tired. He's on spring break, so
sorry.
He's turned his break.
Oh no! Oh yes, I get it. You're 15.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
As of like a month ago.
That's what I get.
Right.
Call from the other room. Hey, Brandon, you doing okay? Yeah. Okay. Good talk, Russ.
You still alive? All right. Good.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that too, because he's in a performing arts high school, so we want to talk about some of the school stuff.
Oh yeah, where in New York?
No, in Virginia. I'm not answering any more questions for you. You answer them yourself, buddy. You're staring at me.
I'm not good at this.
Well, my son's talking about the Borderlands release coming up. Are you guys all talking about it too, or what?
That sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
We had a cosplayer on 2 episodes ago, and that's one of the things she does. Is she does a couple of the Borderlands characters. So it was about half the show where it was just her talking to B, just about like Borderlands 2 and everything. We're like, well, T and I'll be over here. I don't know.
Yeah, not just when you need us,
Yeah, right? Book club.
Yeah, exactly.
Something.
All right. So we all know our cues. We know what we're doing.
Welcome back to the second half of Happy Hour from the Tower. I'm T. I'm Nick. I'm Brandon.
And then it's either going to be Brandon or Uldren. We'll find out. So we'll see.
Officer Lockstock.
Or Officer Lockstock. Okay. All right. And by the way, chat, thank you all very much for hanging out. We really appreciate you all being here. And
Drafty, you're right.
I don't know what that means.
You know that you can tell that Brandon is a teen. He spent the first half looking at his phone. Lol.
Sorry.
B. I should say B, because remember, Brandon's on the other end. B is here. And but no, they've been just so you know, people are really digging this show. They're just like, holy cow, guys, this is great. And yeah, this is why we do interviews. This is why, because we love getting the backstage stories. We love hearing the creative process. Having you on, having Joy, Kevin. I mean, it's just a great time. And Sissy and Courtney, Slamanda. We really appreciate you taking the time, Brandon. And break a leg tonight, okay, man? Break a leg.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Here we go. Here we go. In 3, 2. And we are back with the second half of Happy Hour from the Tower. I'm T.
I'm Nick.
I'm Brandon.
And this is Uldren Sov. Reloading.
Joey Osmansky, the gauntlet has been dropped. That's great.
Had war flashbacks.
Are you okay? You got a little PTSD going on?
Yeah, baby. I love that.
He got a patch and a ghost right now.
Yeah, RB switched out his patch on his hoodie specifically to the Ace of Spades, just in honor of you. Yeah. So
yeah. And to give an idea, Brandon, of how much motivation you gave this teenager when you took down beloved Cade 6 Man, tell us the story, Brandon. How hard did you grind?
I don't think I slept.
You were gone all weekend.
I was.
He was like, so you were talking about that initial reaction, like that rage reaction, and that was it. I mean, we knew from the teaser what was going to happen. But
Look, man, I liked you in D1.
Hey, what's not to like?
all right, okay, shelf the Destiny stuff for a second, boys.
There we go.
Let's talk a little bit more about all the stuff that Brandon O'Neill does. # all the things. So you mentioned you're a theater guy, and I'm going to lose all my time the second half because the other two are going to jump all over you about this stuff. But so I watched some of your stuff from Aladdin and Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I'm not wearing a jean jacket in honor of your performance in Rock of Ages. I just wear this all the time. And now you're in town. Is the new one, right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
Is it? You already mentioned it. It's kind of like hitting the lottery, right? Do you feel like spoiled that you managed to do what you do, living where you live in such an area with like such a rich theater community?
Absolutely. I mean, and I didn't know this about Seattle when I moved here. I knew it was a music mecca. This is post-grunge, just, and there's still just some incredible, musicians and stuff that live here. I'm always running into people who are like, oh yeah, I was in this band, I was in that band. I still do music. I, produce, whatever. But as far as a theater town, I really didn't have my finger on that pulse. And it wasn't until I'd been to some other places in the country that I realized how good we have it here. It's a really large theater-going community, highly educated, very savvy, with a lot of experience, and the talent pool here is the same. I mean, I'm in shows all the time with other people that have Broadway experience, like Mari Nelson, who's Penelope Pennywise right now in Urinetown, has done straight plays and musicals on Broadway. She's phenomenal. I mean, and so the level of talent here in Seattle is on par with, Broadway for the most part. So I do feel lucky, man, for sure.
So, being a mocap guy and a stage actor, and I know we talked about this with Richard about this as well. You seem to have a real dedication to the physical, to the physical acting, physical theater. So, watching the physicality of mocap, do you have a lot of experience with stage combat?
I do. Probably. And what's funny is, I don't know if you were going to ask me this question later, but I didn't go to school for acting.
Huh.
My training has been on my feet.
Nice.
But I can also say that I was raised in like I said before, I was raised in a family of musicians and people who had to be up in front of people a lot. So it's every family reunion was like, who can tell the wildest story? I had uncles and aunts and everybody competing for time. So I guess I had a knack for it, but I was able to glean information and watch very closely on the stage. But one of the things that you can't fake because you'll hurt somebody is combat. But I had a chance twice. I had a chance to work with some of the best fight masters in the business. Like for this, there was a piece called Ramayana, and it's an Indian epic, and I played Hanuman, the monkey god, and he's a fierce warrior and comedian, but he was also like the narrator of the show. But we did a week-long, 8 hours a day, battle intensive where we created this epic stage fight. So we had to learn, bow staff and sword and shield and
keep talking
and
talk slower.
My final weapon for the show was a giant big F-off mace. It was just this big. It was massive, and then I had kind of a shield that covered
another mother. My brother from another mother.
It's so fun. I prefer that over dancing anytime.
Amen.
So that's
facts.
Rules like Kasim in Aladdin, where we have a huge 6-minute sword fight song, and then the Pirate King and Pirates of Penzance. Anytime I get a swing, do something physical like that. I've also got to do like an 8-foot bullwhip for Man of La Mancha. I learned how to, to crack that whip a couple different ways and got really good with it. I ended up taking like Don Quixote's his lance out of his hands with my whip. Damn. So I'd like fling it across the stage and snag it and then pull it. So it was, I feel lucky there. So for sure.
Oh yeah, believe me, I spent many years doing, Shakespeare's where my heart lies. I have a background in stage combat as well. I've also had a few harrowing moments in stage combat. So I got to ask, what's your most harrowing moment in stage combat? Come on, talk to me.
Well, there was a couple. I mean, when I did a show, Tommy, at the Village Theater, and there was this big fight between the husband and the lover, and I threw a punch. Uh-oh. And my elbow didn't quite clear his face.
Oh no!
And when he looked back at me, it had already swollen. It was like an instant egg on his face. So I hit the dude. There was that. And then during Aladdin, when we were doing town tryouts here in Seattle, the original Kasim sword was 2 swords in one. So it was like a surprise joke sword, basically. So It looked like one big saber. And then at one point in the song, I'd split them in 2, and the audience kind of went nuts. But then I had to fight with 2 swords, and the problem with doing that is that you have a dominant hand and not so dominant hand.
Yep.
My left hand. So I was fighting 5 guys at once, with a series of beats and stuff. And one guy just went a little bit over the top than he should with my left hand, and he cracked me right on the top of the head.
Oh, yeah.
Split my head open a little bit. I finished the show because I don't know. There's so much adrenaline. It's like I'm not going to stop going. But his eyes were huge. He knew he had hit me. But the show must go on, gentlemen.
Okay, so
Nice.
I see your story, and the show must go on. And Raise, and sure, because I want to swap this story with you. So I'm working at the Maryland Renaissance Festival, and I'm doing this this very complex. Let's see, it starts off as a sword fight. Then it goes into a staff fight, and then the staff goes into me being the only one with a staff and fisticuffs, and I wind up getting thrown across a guy's back, and then he clocks me with the quarterstaff. Well, to get to that, I had to fake being clotheslined. So that just means I run at this guy, and we catch each other. Like my arm goes across his chest. His arm goes across my chest, and I just kick my legs, and then I get up, and I'm gasping for breath. Now, that wasn't the most dangerous part of this stunt.
Did you wear a turtleback? Did you wear anything?
No, because this little bit was fine, but wait for it, because my arm this one particular day was an inch. I'm not exaggerating, an inch too far across this guy's chest, and I catch him. And I hear my forearm go pop.
Oh!
I land, and I'm really normally I gasp for breath, trying playing it up that I've been clotheslined. I'm really having a tough time breathing, and I'm looking at my hand, and I remember having a thought: move your fingers, T. And I couldn't. It wasn't until they got me to the hospital that they found where the bone was popping out. I had to go into emergency surgery. I have a metal plate across each bone of my forearm. I still have the X-rays. It was epic. But here's so here's the punchline of the entire story. So they set aside 3 hours to teach me. Because I had at the Ren Fair that year. I had the third highest of all the sword fights, and they couldn't replace me for all of them. So they said, we've set aside 3 hours, T, to teach your fights left-handed. I said, okay. Now wait for it. I had it done in 30 minutes. And I discovered that for years I had been fighting with my right hand. I should have been fighting with my left.
Oh my God.
And now I'm a left-handed fighter.
No way. That's pretty badass.
I love this guy. Okay, let's get back to the interview. Guys, stop looking at your phones. Get back to the interview.
Are you still? Oh, sorry. Good story.
Thanks, Brandon.
All right, so I have the next question. There's apparently a very special place to you called the Fifth Avenue Theater.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you tell us about that?
No, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Fifth Avenue.
Well, I mean, it's, for those of you who don't know, the Fifth Avenue Theater is Seattle's largest theater, and they produce up to 5 local production musicals a year, which is a very rare thing. A lot of the other houses in town, like the Paramount, etc., bring in tours, so you'll see musicals and stuff brought into town, out-of-town actors coming in. But the Fifth Avenue produces these musicals themselves with a big local pool. They provide thousands of jobs a year. Their subscribership is somewhere in 25 to 30,000 people come through for every show. So anytime I'm doing a show there, there's a huge audience. There's 2,000 people a night. So you got to be at the top of your game to perform there, because it is one of the premier theaters in the country. Wow. They did the pre-Broadway run for Aladdin. They did the pre-Broadway run for Shrek. They did the pre-Broadway run for there's a bunch. Shoot. I can't think of the other ones. They've done 14 pre-Broadway runs.
Wow.
And, Memphis.
Wow.
That won, Best Musical. God, what's the other one?
You just said
Hairspray
4 times without screwing it up.
Yeah.
That's I was tripping over it just listening.
Yeah, so it was the second show I ever did was at the Fifth Avenue Theater.
Nice.
And I screwed it up, I'm pretty sure. I played Eddie in the Rocky Horror Show, the Meatloaf character, Eddie.
Oh my God. Oh,
and they
Eddie.
they had me pop out of a 1950s horizontal freezer.
Fantastic.
With an 8-inch like mohawk with icicles coming off of my face. And,
yes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, talk about
fantastic.
Hot patootie.
Hot patootie. Bless
Hot
my soul.
Oh my God.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
You're not getting that one past this room, trust me.
No, not at all. Meatloaf, get your fat ass off the table. All right, sorry.
The only disappointing thing about that show is that I didn't get to ride a motorcycle in like he did. No, come on.
That's
the only thing I was looking forward to. I did get chopped up with a weed eater, though. So.
I thought you guys were next, but that's okay. I can do that. What about so since we're talking about different theaters that you've worked with and stuff like that, is there a particular audition story since we've gone from stage combat to just plain audition, which when you think of some auditions they are like combat. Do you have an audition story that sticks out with you? What advice would you give either an aspiring actor or an aspiring musician?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is you have to play a game mentally before you go into the room. And that game is to realize that the people on the other side of the table want you to be the answer. They're not there to just judge you and to say how bad you are, how good you are. They actually want you to come in and for the question of who do we hire to be solved. So just go in there and then also know that this is your audition. This isn't their audition. This is your moment. So take your time. If you need to take an extra time to gather yourself, do that. Get a glass of water. Ask any questions that you have. Don't waste anybody's time. Be prepared.
Yeah.
But you may not get a second chance. So take a second for yourself to gather yourself. So those are some pieces of advice I would give you. And then as far as crazy audition stories, I mean, I've done the whole thing, like, dressing completely up. If it's something that I don't feel like I would be right for otherwise, they don't see me a certain way, then I'll go in and surprise them with, I've done my hair a little bit differently. I'm wearing clothes that are more in line with the character to just give them a sense that, okay, now I can see it, as opposed to what my headshot looks like, or we only hire him to play bad guys or whatever. So, and then for as far as the story goes, my Aladdin audition was unlike anything that had happened before. It was like I said, they were doing the pre-Broadway run in Seattle. I was doing Guys and Dolls at the time, and I could not be in Aladdin. They overlapped. So they said you can't do it, but would you like to be a reader in the room? And the reader is another actor in the room who reads the opposite lines of the person auditioning. So I sat in the room for 4 days, like 300 people auditioned for Aladdin, for all of the people at Disney.
Wow. And
I was doing lines as Jasmine, as Jafar, as the genie, as Aladdin. So I got to show them my versatility at that time. And at the end of 4 days, they said, "We have to see you for this show."
Nice. Very
so
cool.
They talked to the producers at the Fifth, and they said, "We need to see him. Is there anything that can be done?" So I missed a small tour of Guys and Dolls, but I was able to do Aladdin. They hired me as Kasim. And because they had heard me do so many voices, they also, when it came to Broadway, they hired me to do the Cave of Wonders voice.
Oh, very cool.
And the spooky, the Book of Spells voice.
You do spooky well. You do spooky very well. So there you go. So dovetailing from that, you've been good guys, you've been bad guys, and from the look of things in Destiny 2 and Pulled Pork, you're a bad guy who's about to become a good guy. But do you have a dream role that you have yet to attack?
As far as theater goes,
he's already played
musical
from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one.
No, I mean, I'd like to do Sweeney Todd.
Oh!
Come to my high school next year.
Hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
East High School is doing
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd.
They're doing that next
Yeah, man. It's the darker side of musical theater that I definitely like, which is why Urinetown is
Sweeney.
Perfect right now. But
what a phenomenal show. Probably my favorite Sondheim.
Me too.
So on that note, I don't know how much Shakespeare you do. I want to see your Richard III.
I've had a lot of people say that.
I want to see it. Absolutely. Wow.
Well,
that's a good one. That's a good pull though. Now I've got the overture from Sweeney Todd stuck in my head. Thanks, Brandon.
So it's not Sweeney Todd, but hey man, Jack Talon from Ghost Patrol. How ridiculous was that role?
Oh, it's so much effing fun. I mean, come on.
Did you have to memorize all that stuff, or was it, or did you?
Oh no, it was memorized. Yeah.
Really? Those are huge, long monologues.
Yeah, and we get in on location, and I was off book. You got to do your homework, and I wanted to do it well. It was a good opportunity for a lot of footage, and we had to go to this creepy basement jail in Tacoma, like underneath the courthouse. And actually do that on site like that. It was pretty weird. But it was fun, man, to be a ghost hunter. I'm honestly, you guys are going to hate me, but, I'm not one who necessarily believes in ghosts. I really want, I want it to happen. If there are ghosts, I'm like, well, come on, bring it on. Let me see something.
Come at me, ghosts.
Or demons or any. It's not like I want to conjure demons, but it's if there's something otherworldly, I'd sure like to see it at some point. I'd like to see evidence of it. And personally, myself, I haven't seen any of that stuff. My wife's mom swears that she saw ghosts as a kid, and so she believes, and then my wife kind of believes. But I'm like, look, I'm not. I'm into fantasy. I like thrillers and stuff, but I'm not, I've never had a truly something that I would call supernatural. So it's, Jack Talon was fun to play for sure.
It's just, I don't know. I watched it. I got about 10 seconds into that, and I'm like, I know exactly where he's going with this, and I can't stop watching it. It was so good.
So Brandon, I got something then for you to watch because I think you'll dig it. First off, there's this terrific movie that if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. It's directed by the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok. It was one of his earlier films. From What We Do in the Shadows came a TV show called called Wellington Paranormal. And so here's what I would say. This is the way I describe it. Take the X-Files, mix it with This Is Spinal Tap, set it in New Zealand, there you are. And
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. One of the funniest things you'll ever see.
Well, the director, I can't remember his name of Ragnarok. He's a
Taika
Kiwi,
Waititi.
right? He's
Yeah.
hilarious
Yes.
in that. He steals that show, really.
Yeah.
Korg.
Yeah.
Oh my
This is
God.
Korg. This is Korg. This is my mate. What was his name?
Oh, that's pretty good, dude.
Wait, what?
Was it Meeks, right?
Yeah. This is my mate Meeks. Well, you see, the thing is, see, Brandon, you got to understand. My wife is from New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
So I've gone to New Zealand a couple of times, and yes, they do talk like that down there. And the thing was, at the very end, when he said, "I'm sorry, what were you saying, Brew?" That is the most Maori thing you'll ever hear. And for the space alien to say that, my wife lost her mind. She said, "I love Taika Waititi." And if you really want to get into the New Zealand accent, along with What We Do in the Shadows, I'll give you another movie of Taika Waititi's that you would absolutely adore. It's called Hunt for the Wilder People. And Sam Neill is in it, along with Julian Dennison. And Julian Dennison was the mutant kid from Deadpool 2. And they discovered him through... and they discovered Julian through through Hunt for the Wilder
Fire
People.
Fist.
Yeah, Fire Fist. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yeah, okay. And there are my suggestions for you. Please continue, guys.
I love it.
Yes, I mean, we talked a lot about, audition experience, performance experience. I know, you're in town, just ramped up, right? You guys are only a couple weeks into...
Yeah, we just had our first full week of performances. We opened on Thursday, so had our first 5-show weekend. We all survived. The show's in good shape.
And it's been extended.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It just doesn't get produced very much as far as a thank you. theater.org for tickets. It doesn't get produced all that much because it's such a bizarre little show. But they've done an incredible job with it here, this group of professionals, and they've taken it from a 20-person cast down to a 13-person cast. So you're going to see people doing double duty. Not me, just because I'm the narrator and they can't touch me. But it's a lot of fun, man. Yeah, it's a cool show. I didn't really know it all that well. I had a lot of theater friends who swore by it. I didn't know it all that well until I, started doing my research. And it's really scarily kind of poignant for our, current political climate. Having the leader of the town, Caldwell B. Cladwell, say things like, don't be a dope, don't be a loser. Like, it's just very close to what we hear a lot on CNN these days, the sound bites from our very own president. So I didn't want to get too political or whatever, but it's definitely a... but it doesn't... You know what I love about the show?
What's that?
One of the key phrases in the show, a gal says, "Now let's go do to them." She's just been taken prisoner, and she's kidnapped, and they've held her against her will, and they were threatening to kill her. And she finally gets free and convinces them to follow her. And she says, "Now let's go do to them what they were ultimately going to do to us."
Ooh.
And I feel like that's what happens in politics. It's like everybody complains about how they're being treated, and then when the coin is flipped, they do the exact same thing.
Sir.
And it's just
It's a vicious
and it's
cycle.
all the whole. It's disgusting to me. I'm not a hugely political guy. And maybe that'll disappoint some people, but I don't know. I don't.
I remember being in New York the first time that all the taxis had the "You're in town,"
Yeah.
the sign right.
Oh, yeah.
on top. And my first thought was, how the hell did somebody make that? It was almost like if somebody pitched Pink Floyd's "The Wall" right now, like what record company's gonna be like? And the worms ate into his brain.
Oh my God!
For that. It's just one of those.
No
things.
doubt.
Sure
Yeah.
it's happened, but I don't know.
So before we wrap up, there was one, and it sounds like we're about to go back into the darkness. So I just want to give everyone a little glimmer of hope, a little bit of hope, and this might even tear Brandon's attention away from the phone.
Sorry.
So as we all know, what happened this week was the fire. Thank you. The fire at Notre Dame in Paris.
Yeah.
So the good news is that the fire did not consume as much as people were afraid of. Yes, they lost one of the spires that was built in the 19th century, but for the most part, they were able to. Yeah, that's karma.
I missed that.
But they, like, the rose window apparently is surviving and things like that. But now comes the part of reconstruction, and the French officials and different people that are working for Notre Dame are turning to different artists to find out how, photographers and things like that. But one of the people that they're really relying on the most, the game developers of Assassin's Creed.
Of course.
From SF Gate. Wow. Yeah, from SF Gate. They are reporting that an even more unlikely hero from this tragedy has emerged, the video game Assassin's Creed. The video game series is known for its immaculate recreations of real-world places as its settings. Assassin's Creed Unity is set in
Paris, France.
Oh my God!
I used that for my project on Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well, the artist for the game, Caroline Missus, told The Verge she spent 2 years finessing the appearance of Notre Dame down to each individual stone.
Of course she did.
Oh my God!
So
Ubisoft.
And so basically, Ubisoft is going to be one of the saviors of the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Wow.
I want everybody to let that sink in.
Life imitates art, imitates life.
So and this is my hope. If Assassin's Creed Unity can help restore Notre Dame, it is my hope that Destiny 2 will get us to the stars, and we look really good when we get there. Okay, that's what I'm just saying.
D1 Armor was better, but still.
And on that note,
someone had to say it.
Brandon, it has been a sheer delight having you on this show. Where can our listeners and our Twitch streamers, where can they follow you online for news, updates, and some really banging tweets?
All right, so you can go to my website is Brandon-O'Neill -O'Neill.com. Sorry, I don't know my own.
Twitter's an underscore.
Yes, the Twitter's an underscore. Then Brandon_O'Neill with 2 1s as the L's.
That's
so
Twitter.
That's Twitter.
Yeah.
That's Twitter.
Instagram is Brandon O'Neill Official. And that's all I got.
That's all you got?
.org for tickets.
There you go. There we go.
Yes.
And don't worry, we're gonna have the link to the story from SF Gate. We're gonna have that. We're gonna have that in the show notes. We're gonna have Brandon O'Neill's. We're gonna have his social stuff. We're gonna have that in the show notes as well. And of course, we have our stuff in the show notes as well. It's like if you wanna comment. And if you want to send a voicemail for Brandon O'Neill or for us and want to suggest a topic to talk about or anything like that, you can always reach out to us at 703-791-1701. You can also use WhatsApp and drop us a you can drop us a voicemail there too, or you can go on ahead and drop us a text message and we'll read that as well. You can also find us at the current address, twitch.tv/TheTmonster, and go on ahead and jump into chat. There's also HHFTT Podcast on Twitter. And then, of course, you can find us on Facebook at Happy Hour from the Tower, a Destiny podcast. And, folks, just remember, folks, that Happy Hour from the Tower is protected by a non-commercial, no-derivative, share-alike, United States 3.0 license. You can find out more about the license at creativecommons.org. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brandon, for joining us. You got a show to go and kick ass in, so you go and do that. On behalf of Brandon, on behalf of Nick, on behalf of B, eyes up, Guardian. Time to give up the ghost. The first round's on us. And we are clear. We're still streaming, but this part I'm also cutting off because it's going to fade off with the music and all that stuff. Wow, Brandon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving a crud about a little old guy in Seattle. And for the record, for the people who are hating on me for not believing in ghosts, I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe in pulled pork. So
then all right, then okay, I'm gonna double down on you. I'm gonna double down on you on that. You have a
bowl of Trollios.
You have a standing invitation. You have a standing invitation. If you ever come out east for any of the cons we have, whether it's Awesome Con, whether it is Magfest, whether it is KatsuCon, if you come out here, I will smoke meats for you. And I will make you some pulled pork that you will be able to say back in Seattle, we got some coffee, but I'm telling you something, this guy in Virginia, he's got the pulled pork down. So that is you have a standing invite, and then I'm offering him my meat. Yeah,
Nice.
my smoked meat. Thank you very much.
Your hot meat.
My hot smoked meat.
If you, Brandon, if you want to text me the sizes for shirts for your boys, I'll get some stuff from Hangry Gamer Gear and send it out your way.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, it'd be
Right.
There's
great.
a bunch of our wanted flyers because we did our wanted Uldren flyers.
Yeah, okay, so there was no way to really kind of get that into the show either, but I have to tell you about what we did. We had these wanted posters made, tiny little wanted posters made for you, and it says Uldren Sov, Prince of the Reef, Master of Crows, and it said wanted dead or alive, but alive is crossed out. And
Yeah.
Nick hands me a stack and he goes, "Be creative, go pass these out." And I was like, okay. So we're at Guardian Con when this is going on, and I went up to random people and I said, "If you see something, say something." And I just went to every person saying that over. If you see something, say something. And it had our voicemail. It had our voicemail on there, and some people actually called it, and they were saying where they had seen you. And I was like, "Wow, it really worked! It really worked!"
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was definitely a good time.
We're working on getting.
Are you guys going to Guardian Con this year?
No.
No. The problem with Guardian Con this year for us is a couple of things. One is timing. They moved the date. I really wish I knew why, but they moved the date to July 4th weekend. That was problem number one. Then problem number two is they moved it from Tampa Bay to Orlando, Florida. Now, one of the things they said was, well, it's easier to get into Orlando. Yeah, it is easier to get into Orlando, but you're talking about going to Orlando, Florida on July 4th weekend. And I'm just like, no. I mean,
No.
I've gone off season. I've gone off season to Disney, and it's a zoo. But July 4th, and I mean, Disney already puts on a hell of a good fireworks display.
Yeah.
But for July 4th, it's got to be big. It's got to be intense. It's got to be endless. And I'm just sitting here thinking, no, I don't want to do that.
And it killed it for us because our family trip is every 4th of July. And
Right. Same.
We bring the wife, the kid, me, the mother-in-law, the dog. And so, we're like, hey, honey, we're going to leave a couple days early so you could take care of your mom and the dog. No.
Right, yeah,
That wasn't
exactly.
going to flush. So,
No.
yeah. So
Guardian Con is out for this year, but the upside is that I'm going to make a play for TwitchCon, and I don't know if they will be interested in having the Twitch for Dummies guy talking about Twitch at TwitchCon. I don't know,
preposterous.
but I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there just to check out the oeuvre, just see what it's like. But the events that we really dig, there's Awesome Con out here. Nolan North came to Awesome Con last year, and that's happening in like 2 weeks. And we did a panel there 2 years ago, and they must have really liked us because this year they gave us 4 panels, one on podcasting, one on streaming, and then Nick and I do a tag team talk.
Oh, you'll like this.
Yeah. So I do a talk called The Big Score, the evolution of the science fiction soundtrack. And I go all the way from Dracula, 1931, all the way up to present day. And I basically talk about keystones, key little moments in music history. And people loved it. So Nick was like, yeah, we should do something together. And I said, yeah, we should. So we came up with a spinoff called Slightly Off Key, terrific soundtracks in really bad movies. And we actually made it on, was it IO9 or something? We made it on like a nerdy site when they got wind of it, or somebody wrote up about it.
That's dope, though.
Yeah. Oh no.
They gave us one panel at Magfest. It was like 3:30 on a Friday afternoon, and we had like 100 people. And then they gave us that panel at midnight on Saturday night when everybody was already half in the bag. And
and we packed the room.
God, it was
and
fun.
So one of the films we talk about in the big in Slightly Off Key is the Flash Gordon movie where Queen. So the biggest problem with the Flash Gordon movie was communication, because nobody could speak one language. I mean, it was basically, there was an Italian film crew. It was a British producer. I mean, and nobody was talking to anybody. And somebody reached out to Queen and said, "Would you?" They said they told one of their interns or something, call Freddie Mercury and tell him we would like for Queen to make that we would like to make a hit song for us for the film. Well, when the guy contacted Queen, he said, "We want you to make music for us." So what did they do?
Make the whole soundtrack.
They did the entire freaking score.
Wow.
And it's the only good thing in the movie. I mean, with the exception of one thing. When you look at the cast, you realize that Brian Blessed gets it. Timothy Dalton gets it. Max von Sydow, he definitely got it. But when you get to the two leads that are playing Flash and Dale, they think they're doing Shakespeare. And of course, Topaz... Topal, excuse me, not Topaz, Topal, who is playing Hans Zarkov, is looking at the two of them like, you guys are idiots.
Has there been a Flash Gordon remake of any kind?
Not yet.
There was there was a Flash Gordon TV show remake, and it was shit. And Sam J. Jones actually showed up in it at one point, and man, time has not been kind to Sam J. Jones.
Oh,
it has not been. No, he is not having a John Wesley Shipp moment. Let me just put it to you that way. But yeah, so some of the movies that we've, it's great because every time we revealed the movie, you hear people go, "Ah!"
Oh, that's awesome.
You start playing the music, and they're like, "Oh, this sounds epic." And then what's a
black hole? The black hole.
What's the
oh my God.
Joey from Friends.
Lost in Space.
Yeah,
Lost in Space. The film version of Lost in Space.
I think I passed on that one.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, that was a good. That was a good pass. Good pass. but no, we So we talk about so we're actually going to Awesome Con. That's in 2 weeks. Yeah, I am. and another event that you would probably dig. I don't know if they get voice actors for it. But Magfest is the one that happens in January out in this area.
Because Wes Johnson's local.
That's right.
And there's a couple other voice actors who are local.
And then there's an event called KatsuCon. They get a lot of voice actors, but that's because it's an anime convention. So they get that. But yeah, there's some terrific events out this way. And like I said, if you ever come out this way for an event, you ping us. I'm smoking meat. I'm going to give you some pulled pork.
That.
Yeah,
that's perfect invite.
And then we'll bring you in studio and we'll do this live. We'll do this live.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, break a leg tonight. Have a good night, man. Thank you so much. This was an absolute blast.
All right, man. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you around, I suppose.
Did you want to get him to do the?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
You're right. Thank you. Good recovery, man.
I know. I missed. I was still making up because I forgot to ask Courtney to do it, and talk to her every week, and still haven't asked her to do it again.
Got to do that. All right. So what we need.
All this happened because I have a man crush on Amanda Holiday.
Yeah.
So I swear to God, that's any voice actors interviews in here.
So what we need you to say is just as a quick rejoinder, we're just going to have you say, "This is Brandon O'Neill, mocap and voice actor for Uldren Sov, and Eyes Up Guardian. You're listening to Happy Hour from the Tower." Is that Eyes Up Guardian. You're listening to Happy Hour from the Tower.
Yep. Sure.
Yep. All right. Hang on a second.
He's got to hit record.
Yep. And hang on. And whenever you're set.
This is Brandon O'Neill, the voice actor and performance actor of Uldren Sov and Eyes Up Guardian. You're listening to Happy Hour from the Tower. Sorry.
I was hoping you'd be.
Hold up.
I was hoping you'd be a one hit. You'd be a one
Well,
take
son of a
wonder on that.
bitch, I'm not. Just a second. I haven't eaten dinner.
All right.
Low blood sugar.
One more time. Here we go.
You're listening to.
Happy Hour from the Tower, the podcast where
Good
you've just been
Lord.
spending over an
I
hour.
know. Shit. Okay.
Blooper reel. All right, here we go.
This is Brandon O'Neill, the voice actor of Uldren Sov and Eyes Up Guardian. You're listening to Happy Hour from the Tower.
I'm going to need one more because your audio cut right when you said Uldren Sov. That sucks. But that was good. That was good. One more.
This is Brandon O'Neill, the voice actor of Uldren Sov and Eyes Up Guardian. You're listening to Happy Hour from the Tower.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Got it.
Thanks for
Got
doing
it,
man.
Coach. Yeah, we do. We really do appreciate that. Brandon, thank you so much. Really, it's a delight. And anytime you have anything to promote, just give us a shout. We will be more than happy to promote it on this show. Or if you want to come on and promote it yourself, you're more than welcome to join us, okay?
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right, have a good night. Take
Thanks,
care.
sir.
Peace, gents. Bye.
Wow, chat. Wow. First off, Project Guardian. Is that
Who's that, Joe?
Joe?
Who's over there from Project Guardians?
Well, it's projectguardians.org. And thanks for popping in. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Saint
Boy,
Fortune
that
Project
was
podcast. Definitely listen to that. They
that was
interviewed him
that
too.
was so much freaking fun, guys. That was so much freaking fun.
Coconut LaCroix.
What? Oh,
that.
that. Gotcha. I really hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did putting it on, because boy, he was a blast. He was everything we hoped for. And now I'm just going to do a quick check to see where I'm sending you guys for a raid. Let's see who's on. Oh, that's cool. Rain is on. So let's go on ahead and let's do Bring the Rain. And first off, what you're going to do is you're going to copy this message. Yeah, we're just going to do a quick raid and send everybody over to Rain. She's really good people, and love her dearly. Really nice people. So let's do raid, and it's Bring the Rain. Again, for those of you who tuned in and are sticking around with us, thank you so much. We really do appreciate each and every one of you being here. Thank you for the tips, the bits, the subs, and the host, and the auto host, and for tracking with us here at Happy Hour from the Tower. This will actually appear in the Happy Hour feed about 2 weeks from now, because we just released our 50th show, and we're really proud of that. And we're going to probably send this one out in 2 weeks. Thanks again, everybody. This has been an absolute joy. We're going to go say hey to Rain. And just enjoy what she's doing in League of Legends, because, yeah, she's pretty awesome. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow morning, bright and early, 5 a.m. These guys will be asleep.
Yep. I may actually wake up for this one.
All right. So I will see you all tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. for Warlock Wednesday. Thanks, everybody. And, whoops, wait a minute. I got to find, there it is. And, yeah, I think we're ready to go. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Peace.